In our last example, we created a graphical user interface using Python, and we created this. It's obviously a label with a text box and a button, and if I enter someone's name in and press enter, it'll come up with a really lovely looking alert. So with this in mind, we can improve it in a number of ways. We could change the color of it, but one of the biggest things that people need to learn is setting out a layout. Now, as you can see, Python has just put this in order really. So we've started off label 1, then text box, then button. And what it does is when you're building this, because we haven't told it where to put it, it's just put it in the middle. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to look at changing this around. So the first thing I'm going to do is at the top of the program, I'm going to put a from tkinter import star. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I could say import left, right, top, bottom, but if I import star, it imports the lot. Now, where we've got our label 1.pack, textbox 1.pack, and button 1.pack, I'm going to type inside the pack, inside the bracket, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say side equals, and then I'm going to do this in capitals, left. And I'm going to do the same here, side equals, this time I'm going to do right, and then I'm going to do side equals, and then for this one we're going to do bottom. Now what this is going to do when we run the program is it's now put it in some form of order. You can see things have moved around. Now it's still 300 by 300, but if I just expand this a little bit because the enter button's a bit squished, you can kind of see the order that Python is building it in. So if you think of this like being 3 columns, it's done the hello world first, then it's done the enter, then it's done the text box. Now if I put them, so if I change the text box to left as well, and then run it, it's now changed the order around slightly. So it's done the hello world, then it's done the text box, then it's done the enter. Now, if I take out my sizing completely, so let's comment this out, what Python will do is it'll just make a small little GUI and it'll wrap around as tightly as possible. So if I expand it out, it's done the same sort of things. You can kind of see this will always be up to the left, and then this will always be to the bottom. But it's not going to be to the right, it'll always be to the bottom. Now, it's quite nice, it's quite easy to do, but there's another alternative you've got if you didn't want to use the pack. Now, to do this, what we're going to use is a grid. And to make it a little bit easier to look at, I'm just going to get rid of these pack commands for a moment and separate my code out. So we've still got the label, text box and button, but underneath we're going to use something a little bit different. We're going to use a grid. So I'm going to say label 1.grid, and then we're going to open our brackets, and I'm going to think of our grid now in rows and columns. I'm going to put row equals 0, and then column equals 1. Now we're going to do the same with the text box. We're going to do text box 1.grid, and then we're going to do it on the same row. So row equals 0, and then we're going to do column equals 2. Now if I did column equals 1, it'll put 1 on top of the other, so we wouldn't really want that because you won't see the label. Now if I do button 1.grid, and then we're going to put this on row 1, and then we're going to put this in column 2. Equals 2. Now this time when we run it, oh, I forgot the equal sign there. This time when we run it, we are hopefully going to see something that looks a little bit different. So you can see now this is still right at the top, but now it's in a bit more of an order. Whatever you have, like wherever you have a button here, it's always going to be sort of in the center of this. So if you think of this as in 2 grids. Now you can do other things with this, but you can see very quickly we could use this as a username and password. And if I take out the geometry here and then rerun the program, you can kind of see it does it in a little bit of a better way, right? Because we haven't told it to be in a fixed size, I don't have to expand it out or anything. It has actually done it in a grid format. So we could have this as a username, we could have another one then for password, then we could have an enter and an exit button should we wish to. Now with this, it's a slightly different way. Some people prefer it, some people don't. If you are struggling with it, use the pack commands. If you are a little bit more sort of open to placing, obviously this is probably going to be a better choice for you if you've got lots and lots of different things in it. I hope you found this useful. If you have, please leave a comment below.